same engine from the last 3 games. Obviously, we're continuously making improvements and trying to improve the way we make the content, and how it's executed and stuff like that. But it's the same technology. It's just an ongoing evolution. Yeah, we had our team early in the conception went down to Mexico, and I think there's I can't remember the name, but it's a high scanning technology for the rocks and stuff like that to get made it look as photorealistic as possible. A lot of references, photography, a lot of concept art to really make the jungle shine, because we picked this setting of the jungle for many reasons, not just the contrast visual between the previous game, but also to show Lara's character.
That was one of the challenges we faced. Was there are obviously a lot of exploration video games do jungle very well. So we knew from the outset we wanted to create something more unique with the mood and the tone and the feel. To create something, especially fear was the word that we used early on. Fear for the player, creating fear in enemy. So that feeling of looking at the jungle, seeing the silhouetting, seeing the lighting, the composition, and being afraid. This is what we're going for.
We consulted with historians on the creation of this, initially on just the plausibility of people coming down from Cozumel and going to Peru. So if that was technically possible. It would never happen, or we have no evidence that it happened. Actually, on the west coast of Peru, it's known that they've gone up as far as on the west coast of Mexico later, but that's not the territories that we're talking about. So it was deemed plausible by the historian we were working with, and then we just went on imagining from this, how would they have built cities at this point, and that really inspired the layout, fishing district, farming, market. How was this laid out? Because it's a really wide open space, which was also a technical challenge for us, but just creating of the city. But as for the story itself, it's really inspired from research that we did on our own, and it's an amalgam of mostly Aztec, Maya for the story, and the setting for the Inca as well.
So how much of Deus Ex went into the hub design?
Well, I worked on Deus Ex Mankind Divided, so I brought a lot of experience of just how do you do side missions, how do you do talking to people on the streets, a lot of iterations, because we wanted to make sure that the city felt alive. Heath can talk about a little bit the need system and how we kind of created a living, make it look like it's alive.
Yeah, it's interesting because when we started to work on Shadow, we'd worked on Rise, and Rise we had what we call a needs system, which was used for the animals. So in the hunting grounds, you have a deer who would eat, want to drink, want to do this and that. And so when we started to develop Shadow, we knew early on we wanted to go with a big social experience in the hub, which we knew we didn't want just a handful of people, we wanted a lot of people. But they need to act in a believable way when you're not interacting with them, and they need to do things that are customary to what they would do, whether that's a job or playing or working or whatever. So we actually use that needs system, and they will go around and they will do different things. So you might be able to observe a guy digging holes, and when he gets tired, he goes and puts his stick down, takes a drink, and then, I need to get back to work. So we have other people that carry things around the market. They'll carry fish from here to there, from the fishing to the market, things like this. This was something we worked on very early on, because we knew obviously it takes a long time to do that stuff, and it was new for the franchise. We're not Assassin's Creed, which just has many entries and they keep building on that technology. This is a first for Tomb Raider to have these big open cities of people. So we really developed that technology a lot. Yeah. I mean, those moments you're talking about, they're called adrenaline moments, what we call adrenaline moments. So often we'll have a short window of opportunity where you have time slow down, and then you have a chance to press a button to react. And so what we try to do is that we do 2 things. One is we try to vary the buttons, so it's not always the same button. So some traps require you to roll and scramble, other traps require you to jump, other traps require you to shoot, right? So what that means for level design, right, is they can vary the pacing, and early on it can be easy buttons to press, and later on it's harder buttons or different sequences where it's not expected. That's the first thing. And the second thing is we want to make sure that the players explore what we call the secondary systems or the upgrades. And so we actually have an upgrade, a skill you can buy that enlarges that window of time. So we didn't want to create a flat experience. We want to make sure that you feel, as you progress through the game and you upgrade your character, that you feel the benefit of those things. So that might mean that some things are a little more difficult the first time you play, but as you grow through the game, you'll find that she starts to master these scenarios. That's one reason. The other thing too is now we have 3 levels of difficulty, one for traversal, one for combat, one for puzzle. So a lot of these what we call vectors are modified by the difficulty level.
I told them to test the
What a shame,
Dave, Sammy.
what a waste for you to be put under the water. What a shame you can't
We wanted to conclude, at a high level, it's like conclude the trilogy in a satisfying way. That's the mandate. You're like, okay. So what does that mean for us? So we had to define what is becoming the Tomb Raider. What does that mean? Because it's abstract. If she says become the Tomb Raider, that can be interpreted in different ways. So first we had to decide what does it mean for us. So what it meant for us was responsibility. Since it's a coming of age story, we have Lara as a teenager, a young adult, and becoming an adult now. Those are 3. So we wanted to make her more mature, make the challenges more difficult for her, and to learn responsibility. So to make this happen, we said tomb raiding for us is not just old school archaeology, which is get a relic, put it in a museum. It's about the object. We're transforming this to include culture and history. So one of the first decisions we said, we're going to start and be surrounded with people. So if you start the demo, it happens in Day of the Dead. There's a companion right away with her, and there's people you can speak with in exploration. This is not a coincidence. This is done exactly on purpose to give you right away, set the tone that this is about people. It's not just about Lara. So that was the big epiphany for us, is to say it's all about responsibility and people.
I speak loud.